How you doing? This is Adrian House from St. Louis, Missouri. I poured a few concrete countertops in our kitchen and made a few mistakes. So while I'm doing this additional cove, I thought I'd post a few of them on this video, hopefully to help somebody else out so they don't have to go through the torture of messing up the way I did. Whenever I poured these 6 months ago, I did not get these back pieces pushed all the way up against their tight. There's little gaps. I thought it should be perfectly straight, and it is perfectly straight. I learned that's a bad idea. On these, I pushed back as far as I can all the way around the edges. To ensure it was up there, I put a little shim on this side so the screw actually tilted it in against there. The reason for that is on these, not only can you see the plastic popping up in a few spots still back there, but whenever I poured it, a lot of very wet concrete went down there and into my basement. It was a bloody mess. From that lesson, I also learned to caulk everywhere. Every single place that you can. Because once again, I had wet concrete running down all this. All throughout here, just everywhere. It was a bloody disaster. Wasted hours cleaned up whenever I should have been finishing. So on this guy, I made sure I caulked everything through and through. Not only did I caulk, but I caulked really tight. You can see right there. Because whenever you don't caulk real nice and smooth like that, what you end up with is end pieces like this. I filled that in with a micro non-sand grout, which I did all these little holes with a bright white. Even a few spots up here. There's that bright white. But at first, because I didn't put the silicone in there real tight, it came through all messed up. You can see right there's quite a bit missing. I had to fill it in with a bright white. See, I have one more example. This one was pretty bad right here. So this time I did the caulking really tight in there. And so it's going to come out really nice and smooth looking. Another place I messed up with the caulk was whenever I had the sink, rail put up here is adhesive inside of the sink, ran exact this height to match with this. Whenever I did that, I went and caulked where the concrete is right now, and I did after I was putting the mesh in. So it was real messy, and you can see that now, how messy it was. Look, it's all over the place. Nobody notices except for me, but it drives me just insane. Also, whenever you put the sink mount, put the front, or where they overlap at the front, that's what that little line is. Put it in the back, then you're running into problems. One other thing is we got the sink very large, so now this faucet hits every time, and I don't have the backsplash up yet. That's going to be even worse. This fiber mesh, I thought I had it secure through these little skinny spots because that's the weakest point. That's where concrete's going to break. I guess it fell in here or detached somehow because that is a crack. Let's see if I could show it. Right there. I had filled in with microfiber, with the micro grout. But before I was able to fill it in, some water got in there, and that's the stain you see right here. Hopefully it'll dry up in time. I don't think that it will. Let's see. So yeah, caulking is big. You can see I have the plastic underneath the hardy board. But still, you gotta caulk every single bit. I even caulked up in these little tiny gaps just to ensure it's not gonna run back down and around. They don't tell you that on the how-to videos. They also don't tell you how to do these inside ones by the stove. You basically gotta reverse these back pieces to where the bottom one's sticking out, and you have to build a cleat of wood that goes against the cabinet. And same with over here. And then once you get those together, you have to put something in between so you get equal pressure. Otherwise, this line is gonna be wavy all over the place. Another thing they barely show you how to do is this little piece, they call it a return or something. Right here, there's a caulk cavity back here, but who cares? Nobody ever see it because of that angle. You still see some of that plastic sticking out. I think I'm going to burn that off. So with these pieces, it turned out okay. So I want to do a little bit fancier ones on here. So basically, I just taped the living hell out of it. This piece I cut. It's very tough and quite dangerous the way I did it. You basically just have to cut 6 or 12 of them until you get them just right. because you're talking about 64th of an inch off, then it's no good. Now this piece is a little bit longer, so you can see I had enough to put one screw in. So very unstable. I can move it even after putting good caulk all throughout here. So I'm going to have to stabilize it with a 2x4 underneath here. What else did I mess up on? Well, I want to say those were the big parts. Make sure you put plastic underneath. Buy the real Hardy board, not that stuff with the plastic white mesh that you can see kind of coming out of it. It falls apart. I use these 5/8 guys to, well, some spots put this down. And also for these little plastic chairs, but man, they're loose. I tried about, I don't know how many dozens of different screws. Nothing really takes on these. It's concrete board. Even the good stuff, it's going to move out. So don't expect any of these screws or anything to hold in there tight. It's concrete board. There's just nothing you could do. Well, I want to say that's it. Good luck. Oh, one other thing. Whenever you're done pouring the concrete, you go to seal it, use a microfiber cloth. I doubt you can see on this video, but there are little tiny hairs stuck down in there that nobody will ever see except for you and me. But just use a microfiber cloth in between each pass. I use the Aquapoxy. I just mix A and B together, a little tiny bit. I use a new roller every time. It's sticky. I use the same pan. And just use a little bit and just roll on one way, roll on the other. Come back 12 to 24 hours, put another layer down. No sanding needed. Oh, here's one last thing they don't tell you. Look at this big return wall next to the refrigerator. So I put that piece up against it, but watch, it moves. Of course, this is flexible. There's nothing holding it up against the refrigerator. You can't build a cleat in there. Structurally, there's nothing you can do. So you're always gonna have movement here. That's actually from blue painter's tape. Whenever I cover this up so that I want to get sealant on it, the painter's tape that's supposed to protect actually ripped the paint off. These are fairly expensive custom-made cabinets. So beware, get good tape. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I thought I'd just paint this one over here until I can backsplash up on this side. But I'm definitely gonna need something here that doesn't adhere to this wall because it has movement. I'll have to do something on top. I don't know how to hide this. But once again, this is something that an issue they don't bring up in the videos for Concrete Countertop Solutions or any other manufacturer for that. So those were my big mistakes. I hope you learn from them. Caulk, 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 caulk everywhere you can. Do it before you put down the mesh. And double, triple check whenever you think you're ready to pour. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 more days after that. So take your time. You do it right, or even if you do it close to right like mine was, you're going to love them and it'll last a very, very long time. Good luck.